Yeah.
Can the heat reflective membrane be added to an airspace between the spaces and the insulation? What kind of increase in R value can be expected? I'm mainly concerned about heat transference. Temperatures will only drop below freezing a few times a year in my area.
He's down west of San Antonio, Texas. And you can add a heat reflective barrier, but here's the physics of it. You need, if this barrier is here, the sun's coming in, you need an airspace in front of this side of the outside where it's reflecting into. You need an airspace, 1 inch or so airspace. If you don't have that, if you put the wall, if you put this insulation, the radiant barrier insulation right up against that wall, it doesn't do anything. It can't reflect. That's the physics of it. How much R value does it add? Maybe 1, maybe a half, 0.6. That's all it's going to do. So it's not going to give you any increased R value, which is the resistance value of the material. Carrie, do you have the slide with the thermostat that shows, maybe you don't have that one ready? That one, okay. So here's what we have. We have a thermostat upstairs. It has 3 temperature probes. The top one is the airspace. Now we have an 18-inch wall here. And I did this the other day with the outside temperature being a nice warm in Minnesota, 1 degree above 0. The airspace, there was a 2-inch airspace in there, 1.5 to 2-inch airspace, was 31 degrees. The next probe is in the middle of 16 inches of insulation. So what I'm saying is 8 inches in, it's 54 degrees, 53.9 degrees. So that's what the insulation did and the airspace. And the sun was shining, so it maybe, no, the sun wasn't shining. That's right. There was no sun out there. But the airspace had warmed up a 0-degree temperature to 31 degrees. 8 inches in from the insulation, if that's all the insulation you had was 8 inches, R value of about 30, 32, you'd have 54 degrees. So inside the inside layer of insulation on the surface, it's 69 degrees. And inside the house here, upstairs, it was about 70 or 71 degrees. So it was slightly cooler once you got on the other side of that wall, that paneling that we have. The reverse is true down in Texas. So what you got down in Texas was what we had up here was 95 degrees outside. The airspace was 164 degrees. That was the airspace temperature. 8 inches in was 110 degrees. And the surface temperature on the inside of the insulation was 74 degrees, which was the inside temperature of the air in the house. So that's the condition you're going to run up against down in Texas. Will a reflective barrier help? It probably will do something. So you can have that reflective barrier and that 1.5 inch airspace. But do we want to ventilate down in Texas? No. So there's the dichotomy of the whole thing. Do you really want to do that radiant barrier? I'm not sure it's going to help you. It's going to reflect it back through the plywood and through the outside. So radiant barriers as themselves as an insulator do nothing. There's no insulation value to it, really. And some people say there is, but there isn't. Physics will prove you otherwise.
Okay.